Speaking of class.
Fuck you.
Black women have the support of a massive group that participates in ratchet behavior and ratchet thinking. Now, white, Asian, and Hispanic, they got ratchet people, but you had to go away from the group to do that. They don't house you.
Not true.
They don't nurture that. The Black community, the massive group accepts it and nurtures it. It's totally backwards. Rather than sending the ratchets away, the massive Black groups bring the ratchets. There's a safe space for them.
Ooh,
when they're confronted, you look like the minority because you are the minority that confronts that culture, and they're the majority. This is the only group, this is the culture where the ratchets has the power socially. The nerds, the high value minded people. When I'm talking about high values, I'm talking about pro-social values, generosity, respect, honor, faithfulness, kindness. I'm talking about community. High values your way of being. The people like us, we in the Black community are the rejects. In other groups, the ratchets are the rejects. In other groups, that's for entertainment for them. They go home doing the right thing. The smart people are elevated because they know you're the key to our progress. In our group, the smart ones are rejected and they think you trying to, oppress them. It's interesting. You so backwards. You think we trying to oppress you. We trying to free you.
Right.
Part of it.
She's Dominican, by the way.
It's part truth, part
I was about to be like,
delusion.
Around.
I think it's part true, part delusion. So that's all I got for her.
like what?
I just hate it. Like, and I understand because if I'm being real, if I was 20 years old and I look back at my real life at 20 years old and they would have gave me, $5 million to rap about killing people, I would have did it. Right? So, I'm grateful that didn't happen, right? Because now I'm able to do things in a different way, in a different light, and with a different mindset. But they know who they're picking when they're empowering these people. They're picking the people who don't have anything. They're picking the people who came up from these terrible areas. And the worst thing is the only validation that they get is us. Even though they pick them, we co-sign them and we help create their value.
We do.
Okay, so that being, let's say that's the problem. Is the solution to that is that like we just start openly like just
Rejecting?
yeah, like blackballing these, do we just say if it's a rapper or a singer or whatever, do we just like say, hey, we're boycotting their music? Do we take a stand like that? Or should we be loud and proud on social media and being like, nah, this don't represent us. Fuck the bullshit. Like what do you think is like the most?
You don't think that happens though?
I do think it happens, but I don't know how effective it is. So I'm just wondering like what's the most effective way of like quieting those people?
I feel like the most effective way in our community is that we slow your money down. I think that's all we care about is we've seen how much you're making right now. We see the possibility of where you can go, but being that it's affecting our community and our look, we try to slow it down. I don't think we ever try to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the thing is we don't want this person to get ahead for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
But I think you need a leader to do that though.
Well, I mean, you have somebody, and I'm not saying that this is the leader, but you have somebody who's taking a step that way is Kendrick Lamar, right? He's taking a step in that direction, right?
No, Alan hate to hear that.
And he's the one that's saying like, listen, I'm exposing the culture vulture. I'm exposing the rappers who are not being progressive for us as a community, and I don't like it, and I never liked it, and I've been very vocal about me not liking it because they not like us, right? Had to do that, and I do think that he's taking a step in that direction.
Are there any other rappers that are as big as him who have a similar?
Now J. Cole is more like, I'm just chilling. I'm not with the drama.
He's more removed.
Yeah. And he's more so. J. Cole is more so on like a self discovery, self worth, empowerment type of thing.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe, but he ain't, because if he was,
he would have been in that beef.
and the reason why Kendrick had a problem with him was because you didn't like this nigga the same way I didn't like that nigga. You just did a song and a tour with that nigga. So what, you need some money too? Because money can't buy me. That's how I took Kendrick's whole approach.
I took Kendrick as an activist and J. Cole as a conformer.
Yeah, I agree. And the activist who was once a friend of the person who became a conformer let him know that you're on a chopping block too. And that nigga said, I'm sorry.
So he checked him.
Yeah, yep.
Absolutely.
And he was coachable. He was checked him and he was coachable. Right?
They canceled J. Cole?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was ever canceled. I think it was, we slowed your money down by not supporting you. He's never canceled.
Yeah.
I don't think you're canceled in the black community unless you do something heinous. Actually not even heinous. Because you got
always
Bill
a
Cosby.
redemption story.
Yeah, there's a Bill Cosby, there's a Diddy, regardless of what he did or what he
Hales.
didn't, whatever he didn't do.
Not
but
Kelly.
we'll
I was
still
jamming it
support
today at the
his
house.
music.
Hell
So
no.
But I think a solution, and this has always been my approach, and I hope that in my lifetime, I'm one of the people to carry this out, or at least witness, is, and I hate this because I hate the fact that we have to go to white banks to get money. Like, and I don't like that, and I never did. But the fact that we don't fund our own operations is the reason why we have niggas acting out of character.
That's what
right?
Didn't we just say that?
So we need to have a solution for me, or from my perspective would be, hey, Sony, guess what? I'm opening up my own label. I'm going to fund my own artists. I'm going to make my own artists popular in a smaller area. Maybe I start regional, and now they get pop. And now with social media, it'd be so much
easier.
It'd be so much easier to be a real powerhouse label that's producing progressive music for our communities.
You have to have like-minded people.
Yeah, but you have
like a team.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you could find a younger version of Kendrick, or like Cordae, who's a conscious rapper, or just there's a bunch of different types of conscious rappers. And we just start to say, you know what? For me, it's not about the money. I got the money, right? I want to make money, enough money to keep the business afloat, but I'm not looking for this to be profitable. I'm looking for this to be impactful. Right. And then that's when you can start to see changes. But right now, if I'm looking for everything from P&L sheet, I'm more likely than not never to jump into something that's going to progress our culture, because the biggest profit is the destruction of our culture.
You know what? And I only know this because he's, I guess, a friend of the family or whatever. But right now, and you know this, you were sitting at the table at the awards thing. Right now, like, your money can grow so much faster on the Jamaican stock exchange than it can on the one here in the States. And I think that if we want to find better ways for our money to proliferate, it may be doing it in other countries. It may be worth it because, one, we can build their economies, and a lot of our people we know are Caribbean. Damn near all the people I know here is a Dominican, a Jamaican, and a Haitian, But it builds their economy, but it also builds our own economies here, So even just considering another, just thinking outside the box. But again, this is all information.
Yeah.
And I'm not a gatekeeper. So I'm telling everybody, hit me up and I'll put you in contact with the people. But I'm just saying, like, right now, your money can grow much faster on the Jamaican stock market.
But hasn't that been said? I'm sorry to cut you off, but hasn't that been said too by the guys from Earn Your Leisure, how they're building that city out in Africa?
Ghana, I think.
Yeah.
What they doing? I don't know.
They're gonna. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I think we just have to search for that information, and then we have to see. We have to trust the sources.
Mhm.
I don't think we're very trustworthy in its community because, like he said,
You're
we're,
right.
we're,
We're
look,
not.
we're looking
We've been
for.
burned so many times, and that's part of the.
But I
You
think
know what I
that's what's
mean?
holding us back, because what needs to change comes from the impact. But we're looking at the revenue stream of everything at all times. So people aren't trying to be impactful. So you saying people getting a team of rappers or a team of people and saying, hey, invest in us, that sounds great until there's 4 of you. And on that fifth person is ready to sell. That fifth person is done with the plan. The fifth person can't afford to stick with the plan. And I think that's what constantly happens, where somebody on your team kind of turncoats and
Well, it can't afford it. I don't know if they're a turncoat.
You know what? That happens in
regular business.
any business. And you know what? It's like maybe you don't see the long-term play and that's fine, right? Like there's countless stories.
You ain't getting that money back.
Right? There's countless stories where
Thank
early
you.
on that you're like, you know what? I'm a fold. Just buy me out, right?
yeah.
And the business goes on to be extremely successful. I don't think that just because you might have 1 or 2 people that don't see the long-term vision that you fold. Because if you have a person at like leading kind of this team and they are hungry and they are passionate and they believe, it's going to happen.
But what I'm saying is you have to find a Rico or myself to trust that person who is leading.
Right.
And trust that we trust his long-term vision. And no matter what, we're not going to stop the process, no matter how hard it gets. And I don't think we have that to all be on the same team.
But I think part of that is you have to do your research. It's up to you, right? Because
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's definitely out there.
It's up to the people.
It's definitely out there. Like you just taught the audience something about the Jamaican Stock Exchange.
And if somebody's really about that life, what are they going to do?
will.
They're not just going to take Aaron's word for it, right? Because like now,
You can go Google it right now.
right, you're going to do your so you end up believing it. And that's the thing. Like if Rico leads us into a team and he's like really passionate and we're like, okay, well, let me do some research. Okay, I see his vision. I'm buying into it, right? Even if I have doubts, because I understand what he's doing. I think often people will just follow without not understanding the vision.
Yeah.
They're just following for the moment. And that's the difference, because when somebody understands the vision, they are willing to sacrifice with whoever they're following. That's probably like
I'll say this.
People are being a little lazy.
You also probably gotta threaten the person to kill them if they mess over your money. Cause like I be damn if you find me on American Greed talking about I trusted them enough. Baby, somebody gotta go and it ain't gonna be me.